parasocialness shot up by a lot though, since most people were spending days watching and listening to online personalities. My take on it though is parasociality is not inherently bad, right? There are sides of it that are good and sides of it that are bad. And it's what you do, your actions, but mostly it's two things that could be bad about it. Parasociality in general is just a one-way thing. That doesn't have to be bad. It is, number one, if you let your perceived relationship or your thoughts or feelings toward a creator in any way supersede your real life. If you're like, I can't go hang out with my friends because I have to watch this normal ass live stream, right? Like that. When you let it supersede stuff in your real life over like real social interaction with someone who can give it back in real time, that's not good. You know, it has to be something that you do outside of that. There you go. So that's number one. And then number two of it being bad is when you just delude yourself into thinking that something is not what it is, right? You're like, I really know this person, they are my friend and they care about me. I'm sorry, but that it's impossible for a creator to be that for hundreds of people that they're in front of every day. Like, no one person has the capacity to do that. It's impossible. It's not even like anything personal, you know? It's just literally like cannot be done. So those are the only two times that I think it's like bad, because it could delude that person into a lot of stuff that's bad for them, you know? A lot of things that are mentally not good. But everything outside of that, I think, is like fine. Like it's not inherently bad, you know? Because the reality is, yeah, you're gonna know more about this person than they're gonna know about you. You're listening to them talk all day, every day. You're listening to their mannerisms, but they never hear you talk. You're asking them questions about their life and they're telling you. They'll ask you back sometimes, but they're not gonna remember every little thing that everyone said, you know? It's just stuff like this. As long as you're not like crazy about that and you're realistic about that, it's totally fine. Or just usernames, that's all you see. I mean, in Twitch chat, yes, but I mean, there are plenty of people that show up to meet and greets. There are people where I've sat in some VCs, heard them talk, etc., etc. Early on, I would show up to the book club a lot, things like that, you know? So I definitely like do know some of you in certain ways. Yeah, there are certain people that I remember from being here really early on when I didn't have nearly as many people in the community, and I did sit in VC and just hang out all the time because I had a tiny community and it was at a size where I could do that, you know? Really, the only reason I stopped doing that was because I didn't have the time to anymore. And then I felt like it was not good for me to like single out a clique of people and decide I'm gonna hang out with these ones and not the others. Instead, I was like, this should be even. I will just like have my creator friends, whatever, and let the community be the community. That way it didn't get weird, you know? But like overall, it just, you do end up knowing some people from certain things, you know? You do. But none of it's inherently bad as long as you're not delusional about it, to be honest with you. That's really it. So as a theoretical, how would you feel about a hangout with Giga and VC sub-tier, yay or nay? Absolutely the not. I think the moment you open yourself to people paying to sit there and talk to you like one-on-one or like in a small group, the moment you open that up, like if you pay for this, you will get this, that's when it becomes a problem. It's one thing if you have a VC that certain tiers of subs can access and maybe you sometimes pop in, but the moment it's like a thing that does happen, like they will get that if they pay for it, I feel like that's where it starts to get like, no. Because it's an expectation. If it's something that's not expected, it's just like, oh, it could happen, but it's nice, but it doesn't, you know, it's not expected, then it stays pretty natural and comfortable, I feel. But the moment it's like a thing, like a reward for it, nah, you know, that's when you get people getting really weird about it. Basically what happens is you end up with a bunch of people that feel really like entitled to that from you. And then if you don't react to them in the way that they want, you get the types of people that like will crash out when you don't give them what they want. So yeah, like you said, can't wait for my paid trauma dump. Yeah, no, literally I've had friends do that. And a lot of what they've gotten is it's swapped from the moment they made it pay to definitely get some time with me. They got a lot of people paying to get in there and get time with them. And a lot of those folks ended up being the ones that would expect them to sit there and listen when they trauma dump, expect them to remember everything that they tell them as if they are a real friend having a real conversation. And, you know, you're sitting there caring about every little thing they tell you about their work day or whatever. And then the next time, if you show up and you don't remember everything they told you, they'd be like, I thought we were having a conversation. Like, you know what I mean? It's just like that kind of stuff where they think like the moment they start talking to you, you're going to be as invested in them as they are in you, right? I feel like that's one of those things that you should not set up that expectation, right? I think the creator never says that that's the expectation, but people will think that. So no, you know what I mean? I feel like it's better to not open it up to that. A lot of people have used Patreon to do this kind of stuff. I think it's nice to do it in a larger group. Like if you have a huge community and you let them pay for like they get one VC a month where they could sit there and talk to you, whatever, but it's a lot of people, it gets less weird because when there are a lot of people there, they're kind of aware this is still a community thing. But when it's a really tiny community and you've got like 8 people, like 7 people and 1 creator in a VC, and they're just like paying to sit there and talk to them, you sometimes get like some of the ones that are really like not good, not healthy, you know? But yeah, I think the bigger it is, the more people that are there, the more healthy it ends up being because they're more self-aware, you know? They think they paying for therapy. It's not just that. A lot of them pay, and I think they need to remember that because they paid, this is transactional now. Right? It's not I just stopped in a VC to be nice because just to see you guys kind of thing. Now it's a transaction. But then when they get there, they try to act like it's not. Like you guys are there because you really just want to hang out, and there ends up being a disconnect. And I think that's not good. Not that everyone does that, but most viewers that pay for like those little meetups, like the tiny ones, a lot of them end up feeling like it's like they're trying to go into it like it's not transactional, and I don't think that's healthy. It's not good to almost bait people into those scenarios, you know? And then some creators will really try to pretend in front of those people that they're like, oh, I'm so happy to see you. And I'm like, you're not happy to see that guy in particular. You're so happy to see whoever paid that much, you know? Like, I'm not a fan of it. That's why I prefer, if you're going to do a pay to hang out thing, make it a bigger thing. Bigger group thing, like, so it's a proper, almost like a panel, but other people can speak. That, like a big meetup, that makes more sense. Or if you do it so that it's not an expectation, it's just that sometimes you hop into a VC with certain tiers of subs, like you just happen to be there and it's not an expectation. I think then that's okay. Yeah, there are times where it just gets weird, but honestly, no matter how healthy or unhealthy you try to do it, it's on the people showing up, right? Some of them will just show up to the most like not weird setup ever and they'll still be weird and you can't do anything about them. It's not on you at that point. I try to hold a lot of things at arm's length because I don't want to make anyone misunderstand, because I know the reality is on the internet there's a good pocket of people that easily misunderstand this stuff. And I kind of feel bad because a lot of people will point someone out and call them like a creep or a weirdo or whatever for like getting a bit parasocial. But a lot of the time, I think they're actually just like innocently sitting there and just not getting it. You know what I mean? I think there's certain setups, certain things that streamers say, ways they interact with their communities that just kind of get these people thinking that some of the stuff is real. So I try to make sure that the way I conduct myself or I handle things makes it like obvious what's okay and what isn't, because I really truly think a lot of these people that get labeled as this didn't really think of it that way, and that's not what they were trying to go for, you know? A lot of neurospicy folks spend all their time in the interweb. Yeah, that too, right? If you're not neurotypical, then your ability to sit there and get all the underlying things, all the undertones, it might not be there, or might be lesser, and that just is tough for those people. And I feel like, you know, it's not entirely their fault when they, I'm not gonna say a creator tricks them, because the creator isn't trying to trick them usually, you know, but it's just like things not matching up, and it's not really like either side's fault. And I wouldn't, you know, I don't want those people to like get labeled as a creep instantly when that's like not at all what they were doing. They genuinely thought things were different than they were, you know? So that's why I try to make it like really obvious where I can, you know? Some people are just not good at reading social cues and interactions. Yeah. I think most people that get labeled as some sort of creep in an online community, usually they just didn't get it. Like typically the type of person that needs it made incredibly clear to them what their relationship with someone is and isn't allowed to be, what the boundaries are. They just need it spelled out more than someone else would. But people are so afraid to do that because they don't want to look like an asshole, or they assume that everyone thinks just like them and doesn't need everything explained. You know, so that's why I'm like, you just should conduct yourself a certain way if you don't want to deal with it. You don't want people to misunderstand, you know? Sometimes the creator ends up parasocial with their audience. Yeah. I think it goes both ways a lot of the time too. But the thing is, they usually don't feel parasocial like on the individual level. I probably overdo it, but a lot of streamers at the end of stream will be like, love you guys. Even that, I don't say things like that, because even though it's probably not a big deal, there are people that hear that and then they're like, oh my God, me too. And they're just like thinking it back, and they don't mean it like deeply, but then just the repetition of it and making that so regular, that slowly ferments, you know? And then it becomes like they become kind of dependent on that a little bit sometimes. So, you know, even myself, like I probably don't need to go this far, but I do kind of avoid saying certain things like that or whatever, because, you know, while it's not a huge number of people, there's some folks that get a little misunderstanding with that. And usually it comes from like a slow slope, not like an initial, like she said that therefore she loves me kind of thing, you know? Love is a very intimate thing to say. I am nothing for friends. I'll say that straight up to friends of mine, but like people that I know one-on-one and have spoken to a lot, you know, I'll just do that. It's fine. but you know, I try to do it differently. Appreciate you all tuning in would be a better saying. Yeah, I try to use like the word appreciate more. I try to use words that I like feel like I wholeheartedly mean, cannot be misunderstood. And I say the word appreciate a lot because that's real, and there's no way to interpret that differently. Like straight up, it is just a lot of appreciation, right? So I try to do that way. Like there's nothing else, you know, nothing else that could be misunderstood, and it works for the most part. It works.